For 25 years, we have all come to know the Honorable Prime Minister Gaston Brown as not only a great politician, but as a leader who fights for the people of this nation. But what about before? What about the people who knew him just as Gaston? These are their stories.
I met Gaston at school, and he was one of those persons you could not ignore, not for the right reasons, but for everything wrong, because he looked weird. That's the first thing. He was clumsy, awkward, angling, had long arms but was small. They stuck off at the side like the crab Gandhi. And he walked with a shuffling sort of gait. He really was a spectacle. So you could not ignore him. But he was not recluse. He did not appear as though he thought anything was wrong with him. He would still want to be in a crowd, to be obvious, to just do his own thing. And I think as a result, you grew fond of him. He could also soak up a lot of grinding. Look, everybody would pick on him. Especially this guy, we know him as Sinker Bible now. Used to sing calypso, so Colin Jacobs.
We used to grind about the food that we had at the time. So the staple in our house was back and neck. And we couldn't afford, well, our mother couldn't afford more than a half pound of back and neck. So the back and neck and a little rice with a little butter. Now, on a Sunday, generally speaking, when people go to the community shop, doll shop, they'll be buying the chicken wings and their legs and so on. So because my sister was already spending about 25 cents to buy a half pound of back and neck, they never gave her priority. So she had to wait, and she would get frustrated and say, "Donald, you need more half on the back of neck." And everybody started to laugh after her. Then they bring it to school and then grind me and said, "Half on the back of neck." So we took some serious licks.
I used to have a little cash, and we would go and buy breakfast. You bought it, bread and peanut butter at Silver Street, came back, go to sit down under the woodwork center, and we would eat and so on. He would come with us, but after a while you realize he was really hungry. We would have had breakfast at home or something, but in those days people were hungry, you knew that. And so it began with us sharing our food with him and so on. There was a group of us, just a small clique. I would follow him home and then go home. And it's following home, I realized the extent of his poverty. His clothes, you knew, were secondhand. I think he once told me that is these Quinlan boys' clothes he was wearing, that his mother and their mother were friends, and they would pass down the clothes to him. This wasn't anything unusual. My mother was a principal of a school, and she too, when we finished with our clothes, they would pass from the eldest, come down, and then they would go on to children at her school. So, and she had 8 of us, and she would pass them down maybe 1, 2, 3, and then to children at her school. And she would cook food sometimes for children because that was the time we lived in. Gaston, I think it was worse than anything that I had ever seen. People were poor, but their houses where they lived and so on, it was compatible with education, children, these sort of things, not Gaston's. So we were friends, and you notice these things. If he is going home, as falling in home, he was searching pieces of stick on the ground, and you think this is a hobby. No. This is to cook on when you go home, make wood fire. There was a guy, the house was like a little gang house. Some women, some men, and the children. The men included his grandfather's son, and so it's his mother's brother, and some other women and men. One in particular, though, Compass, he worked at Public Works. He'd come there in the afternoons, and he would be the chief chef. And he would cook up, not much, white dumpling. Sometimes there's a little red herring with it and so on, and it tasted okay. Well, we were always hungry, so whatever was cooked, and then fungi was a big part of it too. But for Gaston himself, whenever he had a little money, it was food. Not, you conquer this kind of thing. A pound of cornmeal, a pound of sugar, that could last him a week. His cornmeal pop without any milk, that kind of thing. I remember one time we went to the beach, I think it was myself, Keatley Winter, Wayne Martin, him. I think he said he was leaving early, and so he took up Wayne's shoes and carried away. So we had the laugh on Wayne that, we make Wayne walk through town barefoot. He was willing to share. So this was just natural survival and so on. Didn't have, but yes, we could go there, enjoy ourselves, sit, refresh ourselves, and so on. Because every mickle they say make a muckle.
It's only now I'm reflecting on it. All my friends, when I was in Grace Arm, they came down, no, they looked for me and point the same thing. I didn't follow them home, no. They followed me where I live under the very difficult circumstances. When he spoke about the men and women who used to live at home, they used to be drunkards. He was very kind, he didn't say so. And if you saw how the house looked, they used to sell bottles and so on. So they had all these beer bottles and sweet drinks bottles piled up in front of the house. The house had no windows. I mean, it looked like one girl, Jackie Nicholas, said to me, the house should be under the sea. That's how terrible it looked. And as he said, no toilet, no water, no electricity. So things like television and so on, we didn't have those luxuries. And I seldom did homework because there's no light. And I remember doing it under the lamp light. It may have been maybe on one occasion, but I know it wasn't a regular thing. And that's why too, when I came to power in June of 2014, leading up to the 2014 elections, and I said to my colleagues, hey, we're wiping off all arrays and putting back on the electricity. When
You say poverty though. There was no electricity in the house. Water sometimes, but there's a pipe close by. So even though they had water, they would still go to the pipe. There's his house, another house, and then a house at the corner, and at the other side is the pipe. And that was also the block where we would sit, you know, and not just us, the whole, you know, people that just around the neighborhood. School would be there. Roger Beaker, Bango, Steady. Steady would be the elder on the block. I don't know if you know Steady. His real name, he is that guy that got crushed down at the port. Gaston would be there doing his homework and so on, while all us there chatting, he would be involved in the chatting too. But he could still do his homework there, you know, because the lamppost had a light, no current in their house. It's everybody on the block. Ideal place for him to be and so on. We partied a lot too. Did everything children did, you know. And so there was a party in these days. You have a white fete, yellow fete, but those days people had birthday parties and so on. And you would either hear it through the grapevine that there's a party over there, or you walk on the weekend and listen for the boom. We call it the boom. And those days, it's quiet. And you hear the boom coming from, and you follow the sound till you reach the party, and we'd go in and so on. Anyway, we never saw a remote TV before, remote for a TV before. So we took it up and left when we were leaving the party. And we don't know how it works. So, so we think that, well, the remote can work with any TV. So we're walking through Villa and Point and just clicking, locking off everybody TV, man. And when we reach on the block now, where we start to laugh about how much people TV we lock off coming through Villa and Point. One of the persons on the block tell us, well, it's not so it go. A remote can't take off every TV. Shame. Look, grinding. They nearly kill us. Look, for days they talk about this remote and us not knowing how the remote go. One time we passed in police station, and Gaston, I never heard him talk a bad word before. Bad word frequent down at his home. Never hear him yet. And he just bust some bad word, say something. What? Right in front of the station, And so, policeman, hey you, and wrap him, man. Oh my, that's it. We take off, we gone. And so, it's the next day we, catch up and get to understand what happened. They just keep him there for a little while and then let him go. We have always been in class together. So I know him, you don't. Now that he is an international figure, prime minister, these things, it's unbelievable. It's shocking, it's mind-boggling. He would have told me, look, I am going into politics. And I laughed at him, tell him, don't do it. And it's not you. The Labour Party is not popular, it's losing popularity, all these kind of things. At that time also, Donald Halstead had just come back. Now, where he is intending to run is a blue town. It's only red temporarily, just at that stage, but that's blue town. And if Halstead comes back, and Halstead had come back, and wrestled the seat out of Hendy Simon's hand, and you're going into that, one, you're going to lose, two, you're going to be sidelined and pushed away. And you have ambitious stalwarts, Malvin Joseph, Robin, Lester. These contenders are there. Becoming prime minister under that situation, you just can't conceive it. You know that things have happened in his life that seem miraculous. I didn't know this, but one time we were talking and he told me about his electrocution. He nearly died. And he wondered if he had a calling in life allowed to me. I didn't say anything. Answer because, well, what can you say then or anything like that? But you can see things are happening and you expect great things from him after a while because you see his development, extremely clumsy. After a while he's playing football, okay, then he's playing better. Cricket, I don't think he ever got a handle of, but then basketball, he's all right too. Actually, he got a job at a gas station. That transformed his life so much. in terms of better nutrition and all these sort of things. All of a sudden, he taller than me. And I'm like, what? And so he think being taller than me, he's going to challenge me to basketball. So he challenged me. I beat him, of course. Yeah. But where he excelled is swimming. I never let him know because, he's very competitive. It was unbelievable the path that he took. Now, I followed him when, like on the campaign trail, these sort of things. And I would observe that there is this hype when he would go to speak. You have certain people that, have it in different elections. Winston Williams had it at one point, when he would go to speak, the kind of energy he brings to the crowd and that sort. And he had it, and you could see that they're trying to put him in a corner, like, not the crowd, but those around, like to hide him away. And he would not be hid. And so a convention is coming up, and he's vying for leadership. I am like, look, if you say Leicester is the problem, why not? Because every polling was showing that Baldwin Spencer is leading Leicester by a big margin. And he's saying that, look, with Leicester there, none of them will challenge him. And only he would challenge Leicester, could challenge Leicester, none of the other senior persons. And he did so, and he won, and he was leader of the party. That too is incredible and a mountain to climb. But then the elections too, he has to win it. And he did so surprisingly too, against all the odds. So his whole life, it is a marvel. And how he got to where he is today, it is something that you couldn't write a script for.
My parents them christen me as Barry, but everybody call me Screw. So that's our name most people know by. Gaston now, we met Gaston, Gaston mother had a family house. Well, it's still there on Bishopgate Street, and me on the opposite side of the road, so like neighbors. And then when Gaston was at Grace Farm, he usually visit his mom back and forth. And then after a while now we decide, well, Bishopgate Street is the place to be. So he finally come and reside there, and then just like all youngsters grow up, so that's how we make the connection. We have about 20 guys coming through, about 20 guys, and then they have on the corner about 20 guys, and then we had some other guys who were pretty older than us. They were the guys that kind of harness us. Like you have a guy they call Jacko, he does do upholstery work, he cross Wapping Lane. And then he had another guy they call Ray Matthew, he used to do aircraft. And then later down we had Steady Joseph come through. He probably come later than other guys. He was a guy who sports. He was be a good man on the field, like the field sports, like football and cricket, he really excel in that. But like the board games, the draft, the domino, the card, he go on the worry, that was his field. And then he the swimming, and he liked pretty girls. As we say, we have about 20 guys. So we have our little crew we moving like fet and so on, fet and dance. All 20 guys now moving because some guys stay in the base. So we have about the 5 guys. So you have a guy called Ron White, Bongarts, System, and they got me. And then he have a cousin called Zonny. Tony, they only brought in their name, but his name is Zonny. Gaston and his cousin, the same Tony, Zonny. when you go out, Gaston house and tell you all the trouble some ugly girl, man. I'm into ugly girl, you know what I mean? So the guy not too like that. So nowadays this day now I go out in school fet now. So Gaston, me and Bongas decide, look, I gotta fix Gaston today, you know, because he always mash up all, you know, I the trouble ugly girls, you know what ugly girls. So I decided I'll go to this pet here, I'll go set up this ugly girl to come and approach him. So out there all saying school fet, he got on like a side and Bongard spot this girl and say, yeah, she good, man. She look good. She had a perfect one. She clear, but she had just kind of like a huge. So you can't ever approach her and you say, yeah, this guy down here, I'll check you out. And she come because Bongard's a man get along with the girls too. So she come over and Bongard's introduce it. Gaston, because see in his face, he ain't too pleased about that. But he go along with the contact and told them they talk and I step aside and, you know what I mean? And about 2 days after the fed done, I'll come over and everybody say, boy, your trouble is this ugly girl. How you tell her how I set with this ugly girl and this ugly girl, this and that. But 2 days after now, finally up on the corner now, the girl approached, the girl arrived on the block, so I said, wait, that. Gaston don't want the girl where he live in now, so he come out. You know how to bring you by yard, so he don't want you to live. So he come on the corner now. So he did, and she talk. I don't know why. Oh, well, let this be because I don't want to be in the conversation. You don't know how he gets she off, but he do get she off. And then, you know, she probably come back another time, but he dodged out that. Jacko, he had his little upholstery shop. So sometime when he get a job like a fix them big chase, like the chase set his name then, he just not using the truck. So I would go Villa, you see about 5 men go Villa and I walk from Villa with them chase pan our head. The big one and at Christmas time, the big one I would just bring them back. And then I'll get like a change from that. And then I'll hand out, I tell the shop was down road, Bishopgate Street. I tell the shop, Bishopgate Street is a place to be. They had I tell shop down there. You have Brownie from the corner and Brownie near the bottom of the road. Then you have one guy that fix motorbike then called Abdul there. And so the man I was in the road. The shop just coming in Antigua, so everybody come Bishopgate Street now. When me I experience that, one night me Gaston and a guy like Roger Beak. The guy then called Roger Beak, and partner Gaston, good friend. I'll decide I'll go down the road. Down by the IT shop, I check with this IT shop. Then I have Frankai, Shaka, Lumba. So I go down there, you know what I mean? How they? So after about a long while, after about 11 o'clock now, I was down there and Lumba decide, Frank ain't gone. Lumba was with the man at the late last Monday. So Lumba decide, I'm hungry, you know. And Roger Big say, I want something to eat, man. Lumba say, well, I'll go do something, you know. So he said, I'll go put our pot to scatter, but first I'll go appetizer. So the appetizer now, a popcorn. But the rest of man now use salt. So the popcorn and pop. So me ask him, what about the salt? He said, rest of man use salt, man. So I said, well, no way you can do this here. So now look now, a pepper the man bring, you know, peppercorn, you know. So you eat 2 popcorn, you have a glass of water, you know. 2 popcorn, a glass of water. I said, this can't work, man. So I said, the belly don't full with the water, you know. 2 popcorn, they're hot, they're cool off. Then they might put on the scatter pot now, you know. The scatter pot now, he had coconut oil, he had onion, he throw it in that. And then the man just dash the rice in there. So when the pot done cook in about 10 minutes, the man bring them off, you know. The man tell you, crow, your teeth like an edge. He say, scatter this here, man, scatter. So me had an experience, you know. Me say, me not go back down there, me not go back down there. So Gaston now, with all of that, he say he go back. Because he in more, you know, like a financial more problem. Because when he mother went in this mental thing, right? Our in-house have our parents, so I could go back and get some food and so on. So he like a more challenged. He had more challenge then. So he go back and decide, well, he go help them man and the man give money. So that's how he do with that money they know. So he make a little money, make a little errand for them at the shop man, and he make a little money by the side too. I understand that. Even though I have about 20 man, I never have a lot of grinding on the car, but we never have a fighting. When we check back that and say, that's amazing. 27 man and a half man grind, man, and argument or disagreement and so on. But fighting never come about. Carnival time, recreation ground, Well, let me tell you first. When I go to some show driving cinema, right? I had an experience. Me, Gaston, another guy. Because me and Gaston and Bungas, I was a move really. Some of them guys top and bass, but I was like outings. So I decided I go driving now. Cinema. Remember driving old cinema? So I decided, I had money like that, so I could jump over the fence. So I go to the back and jump over fence and I was sitting out, think I'll get well, Next thing, a policeman was coming and grab her by her chin and hop outside, By her back. Everybody watch her, so if he's shame bad now, so I say, not again. Anything the freaks, I get him by the gate. I can beat the system. So carnival come now, them days, I decide, well, I go up recreation ground, and I'll see. Check out the ones that the man had some kind of ticket. I'll come back down the road, go by Jughead, and he must camp, and Jughead say, I come ahead, and just the little sister to make them ticket day. So I'll do that, bap. Every night, sometimes I'll go inside and main thing, I'll get in free. I'll get in, make the ticket in them, but Gaston, I want to put it on the level now. He decided, he now just getting everybody and everything done there. He decided now, when me done getting everybody, me can start make money and sell them tickets here to them man, So he take that now and he making money. I will do that, but I never do that, but he into that full time now. So when carnival done now, when I make our money, I spend all the night. Gaston not spend half free money now. He hold his money. He don't say. He say to buy one trousers, school pants, school shoes. So a long time the man now for turn money.
I wasn't the ugliest looking chap and I looked innocent. So the assumption was that I had an invitation. I had none. I was a crasher. But almost invariably, when they done round up screwing the others and turn them outside, I had to leave because none of my friends there. The recreation grounds. They didn't expect a little 13-year-old, 14-year-old be so clever to be literally beating them. So for example, what will happen, you may have two guys, one on either side of the gate. And I will go and pretend as though I'm giving that one the ticket, and then switch back to the one, let's go through. Then I come back out with my ticket. Yeah, because when you're going back out, you get a half a ticket. So with the half that I had before, I go and sell it for half the price. And made enough money to the extent that's how I used to buy my little school shoes and my pants on.
Me feel very proud now, for where you coming from and all and struggling and hardship you gone through. You supposed to, that's supposed to not just inspire me or the youngsters who poor and so on. They're supposed to just look upon that and say, well, how I can elevate ourselves coming from the level the same way.
My name is Eustace Tico Lake. I got to know Gaston mostly at Princess Margaret School, but I knew him before then, living down in Grace Farm. He had, well, I didn't know it was two houses. I thought it was one. But I understood that he had two houses on the same street as Mac and those guys. I have a cousin that lived across the street, so here and there I would see him. And then when we got to Princess Margaret School, we got closer because of a relationship that I developed with his best friend, Myrna. And out of that, we became close. We always were talking, studying in the afternoon, math mostly. And then I also found out he did general biology. Back then it was human biology and general biology. He did general biology, I did human biology. So out of that, we developed a relationship. It was amicable. I ended up liking him right off the bat. His personality and everything. He was very quiet. And because I liked doing a bunch of chatting, it made it easy for me. Plus my girlfriend was there, so, The crushes I'm going to speak about, or crush that I'm going to speak about, I'm not going to say who, but I understood that he had a very big crush on a... I would not necessarily refer to the person as a politician, but they're involved in politics. True or false, I don't know because I've never seen it, but I would not necessarily say it's not true. The verse very modelly, I would say, but back then in school, she was the head girl, so she would know who I'm speaking about. And, and I believe he would know who I'm speaking about. But, you know, it's a very likable person, so I can understand. I loved her personality, and so that one I know. I then understood that he had another crush on someone else, that they went to village school together, and then came to Princess Margaret School. Now, that one, for me, again, is speculation, because I wasn't aware of it. But from what I know, they were best friends. So that relationship was very good, you know, based on what I knew. They were always together, they were always talking. I believe he is very, he took care of that person very well. I remember one time there was a conversation where I was messing up, and he ultimately pulled me aside and listened to me to let me understand, you're messing up. You know what I mean? And here's my position. And he got me to apologize that night. I literally went back and apologized because I wasn't aware of the situation. So when we talk about leadership, that was the first time I think I saw the leader in Gaston outside of the leader he is now. Outside of that, there was an incident that occurred where he played football, but as we know, you know, he's not necessarily. I saw Gaston more as a strong player, not necessarily a skilled player. With that said, we heard about Bongarts. Bongarts was a goalie. He was the goalie for the junior team at Princess Margaret School. Bongarts is my family, and so I tend to be somewhat defensive of him because I grew up in the same house as he did. And ultimately, Gaston also played for the junior team at Princess Margaret School. The senior team won the league, and we were tied, I believe, with St. Joseph Academy. So we got a chance to play Antigua Recreation Grounds to decide who the winner was. Of course, there was always, you know, Top of the Form and all the other programs on television, that there was a tight competition between Princess Margaret School and St. Joseph Academy, etc. And Sunnyside, you know, we're a government school, so we want to prove that we're just as good as them. And so we came to the football, we went in there prepared. Although we started that day with players short, I looked out to the line and saw Gaston out there. At this time, we had already started, we had a full team, but he showed up in uniform. The junior team and the senior team wore the same uniform. He was not a player, like I mentioned, for the senior team. However, I remember that about 10 minutes before the game was supposed to call off, I approached Mervyn on the sideline and said, sub me out, you know, sub Gaston in. And my reason for doing that is because here is someone who's making an effort beyond, you know, anything else. He never played for us. He wanted to play. He showed up. He wanted to present his skills. And I asked for the sub, and Mervyn subbed me out and subbed them in. You know what I mean? And I didn't really, you know, stand up and look to see how well he played or anything. But I know from just playing with him in the yard at Princess Margaret School or on the field that he was a strong player. I never really saw the skill player. So I believe he contributed, and St. Joseph Academy got 5-0 that game. I want to make sure that there's an understanding. Again, leadership. He wanted to be a part of the winning team. He presented himself, and why didn't we give him an opportunity? We gave him an opportunity. And he showed leadership by taking the step of, I want to make sure that I'm there and represent my team, because it was something that he loved. But again, I'm not sure he was around necessarily the skilled players per se, and that would have probably presented a different Gaston when he came to the game of soccer. For me, it was surprising because I came home from the States and then I found out that he was doing this thing when all the guys from down in Point Point Villa would gather, because Point is where he was living when he was living down by my good man back there. And so, but when he moved to Villa, he developed some Villa friends also. And he said, "You want to come on Sunday morning?" I said, "Sure. I don't know what I'm going down for. All I know I'm going down." You know what I mean? I was glad to be around him, to be honest with you. I was back home, been out of the country for 20-something years, so being around people that I'm familiar with and comfortable with presented an opportunity. And I went down and these guys were cooking porridge. So then, I want my porridge, so I made an effort to get on there on Sunday mornings with Wang and all those guys and enjoy my porridge moment with the guys in the same house that he still owns, but I think Uncle is the one that lives in it now. Before I got into the political arena, and he wanted me in the political arena, he said to me, the Gaston you knew then is not the Gaston I am now. I didn't know what that meant because I wasn't in the environment of the political forte. However, what I realized, he was a different person. He was more of a leader, absolutely. It's not that you're going to do it my way or the highway. It is more, this is the best way to do it. And he will give his logic behind of it without getting into a lot of explanation, which goes back to the person I knew in school. He wasn't a big talker. He was more like, not abrupt, but he wanted to be more, this is what should be done, and expect you to understand, not necessarily follow, but understand. And so I saw that come out. I remember an incident where he wanted me to run. I was a little reluctant initially, but he would not ease up. Our Gaston did is exactly what he did at the football field or anywhere else, that he would take the leadership. And he went to my dad, One of the things I found out in that conversation, because my mom called me and said, "Someone's here to talk to you and you need to come right now." I wasn't far from home, but I was pretty much going around having conversations with people, getting the feel of the political field or what was happening. And I jumped in, the gentleman's car and said, "Look, take me home. My mom wants me home right now." And when I pulled up, I said, "Oh, 817. I know 817 is Gaston." So I walked in the yard really soft because I wanted to find out what him and Daddy were talking about. And I just saw my dad over him standing up saying, "Your family, if you want him to run, he has to run." Again, Gaston exercised something that I never thought he would have done. He went to my dad and got my dad to convince me to run. Because I kept telling him, "I don't want to run. I don't want politics." At this point, I was the operations manager, the human resource manager / operations manager at Bargain Center. And I just never thought of getting into the political arena. But he saw something that I didn't see, and he wasn't going to ease up. So then Humphreys and Percival and Assad and Lester and everyone came following that incident. And then once I knew, my dad said, "Your family," Gaston said to me the day, he said, "Let's go for a ride." And we left. And he said, "I knew we were a family, but I know you didn't know." I didn't know. He's Gaston Brown. How do you put family inside of that? Then he said, "I'm linked to you on the lakeside." So then I asked Dad, because he was one I heard that said it. I said, yeah, you're all a family. You know, and that's how I found out that we were cousins on the lakeside. And that linkage is what I held on to and made my decision based on the fact that my father already committed me. And out of respect, I have to respect him. And then, you know, if my cousin is running for politics and he wants to lead, I believe, based on what I know of him educationally, he absolutely have the ability to do it. And if he's going to do it, he's going to do it well. And so that's where I end up in the political arena with my cause.
My name is Luther Lee. I live in Villa. I've been living in the area for the last 43 years. And any footballer worth their salt of those generations, I knew of them because I was always scouting for good football talent and also good scholars. And as you know, Gaston fitted that. He was at Princess Margaret School at the time. It was himself and I think it's Lawrence, I'm trying to remember his first name. But he eventually got the scholarship. It came down to two of them, and he got the scholarship. That's the guy Lawrence. I know he was not really, he's a good footballer, but not a top footballer. But what I liked about him is the kind of force and strength that he played with. He, as you can see, he's a big guy, and he made his size play for him. And that has been the hallmark of Gaston Brown, his toughness, his ability to use his strength and understanding where his strength lies. After he might have left school, he went to work, and he was in the banking system. I knew him through that, you know. But my main connection with him was after he decided that, well, he was going to be a politician. And he canvassed my vote. I told him no. I don't think he was ready for that. I said to him, well, look, if I was going to vote for the individual, I might have voted for him. But I was voting for change at the time. And so I told him, no, I would not vote for him. But what I liked about him is the way in which he, as a businessman, was always involved in some kind of a, you know, business aspect of music. I remember him and Nato had a little car company, you know, in the earlys. I think he was just about 20-something when he did that. He was always very much a business conscious person. And because of his, I can tell you, he knows money. I don't think I can put it any better. He understands money. And that is what he has brought to the fore. He did it for himself personally and his family, and he has set aside that now and is doing it for the nation. And that is what I think is most important about him as a politician. The politicians before that attained leadership, Sevier, the father of the nation, came out of the trade union. George Walter came out of the trade union. Honorable Lester Bird, I would say maybe from the legal aspect, because he was a lawyer, trained lawyer. Baldwin Spencer, trade union again. Gaston Brown is the only leader that we have had so far that understands business, and the main part of his business is the projects that he did, the housing projects that he did personally when he was in opposition. I think he did either 2 or 3 housing projects. That's powerful, because most times if you're a contractor, you have the skills, but you don't have the money. If you have the money, you don't have the skills of doing the work. Guess what? Gaston have both. And he has set aside that. Because he could be in his private business and continue. I think that he saw it necessary to come forward and lead us in this time. And don't take this thing for granted of him saying he's blessed. Trust me, he's blessed. It's only blessed people can act like that. The kind of things that he take on, the battles that he take on, and that is the beauty of his whole character. He's a fighter. As he said sometime later there, he had to fight for everything. Fighting is natural to him. When you might see as somebody might see the struggle, no. That's how he has become successful in the fights that he take on. And a lot of times we get scared. We don't get scared of him because he's not leading us in the wrong direction at any time. It might seem scary to us, but he knows what he's seeing. He has a very good vision of what is to come. I think that is a blessed, when he says he's blessed, that is a very serious statement. He says he's blessed, and we can see the blessings on a daily basis. Like anything he put his hand to, he becomes successful. Let me say, farming is something that everybody turn up their nose at, and most times don't even think they want to deal with it. And he said he got into it, and guess what? He's doing well again. He blessed, man. You know, we just need to tag along with the blessing and make the country float Antigua and Barbados in a very positive way. I think he's a blessed person to be in our leadership position right now. I'm proud to know that, well, the Honorable Gaston Brown is now an international figure. And it is for the same fighting spirit that I saw in him as a footballer, is what I see in him up to now. He takes on battles that others will run from. I mean, say, and honestly, when I see him speaking with them people, right, all them big world leaders, he's very comfortable. He never seemed like, well, the situation overwhelming. He just feels as comfortable as possible. And I think that's what he brings to the fore, because that now, it seems like it draws all of them to him. They see him as who he really is. Not like, oh, because we here now maybe saw him grow up in a condition and just can't see him where he is right now. But they never saw him like that. All they're seeing is this brilliant young man, and fierce and ready to take on anything that is going to be hampering us as a people. He put his whole career on the line to make sure that that is known. And that is something that I really admire in him. It don't matter, it's that same fighting spirit that he'll fight with anybody when he reaches there. And they are giving him the respect for that, because they realize what he's doing is coming from his heart. He really believes it, and he understands how to put his program over and get the respect with it. Because that is the main thing, you know, is when you're being respected. Because after respect comes adoration, comes love. And that is what he's feeling right now, right through. It's like a dream, but thank God it's coming through, you know. I mean, say all the naysayers, eventually they're going to come in, you know. Mark my word, they're going to come in. Because he's somebody that you can rally around. You know, he's just a powerful individual, powerful. And he needs to be told that, make sure that he knows that what he's doing, we really appreciate what he's doing for us as a people.
One Saturday morning early, I was sitting at my front door and heard a voice coming from over by the schoolyard saying, "Oh Lord, help me. I don't want to die, I want to go to heaven." So after that, I said to myself, well, then youth always a play. So when something happened to them, nobody could really check for them because the hours of play. So I just keep hearing that over and over. So I decided was to look. When I did look, I saw a foot, which was Mr. Brown foot, kicking over the wall. So as I looked, I realized that it was something serious. So then I went over to the schoolyard to check to see exactly what was going on. When I went over, I met a man that coming from market. We met together and was looking down at Mr. Brown on the ground, wrapping up in some wire. So the man told me was to get a bottle. But after looking for the bottle, I just see Mr. Brown's face with the eyes open and remembered that I had a hatchet under by my stove. So immediately I run over, get the hatchet, one cut, and cut the wire. After that, he asked me what was to do. I told him was to sit down by the tree until you catch yourself, and then you can go home. So he did that. After later on in the afternoon, his mother came over to me and thanked me, you know.
Gaston Brown, in his early years, we played together as boys. He was a very good draft player, very astute man, playing the game draft. And at one time, he sipped some alcohol. His grandmother was normally an alcoholic. So in the early years, he drank the entire half pint of the liquor, and he ended up with alcohol poisoning. As boys, we were laughed, you know, but it was a serious situation. That we took him to the hospital and so on. And then when he came out and so on, that was a scene for grinding. Most of the time we just call him rum belly. He never liked it really, but that's what we call him. And when we want to cushion it, we just say rum pum pint. At that particular time, we mostly play marbles, cushion, draft, dominoes. He participated in all these things. Especially with the draft and dominoes, he played good. You can see his mindset. I guess he got that in his DNA. And even now, what some people are upset about is that part of his DNA. Remember, his father was a gambler. And now he's a learned man. The chances that he will take and know how to maneuver, that's part of his DNA. So how he's functioning now, I can see everything coming together now. You like to use the word risk traverse or whatever, but he understands that he's learned now, but that's part of his DNA, that particular type of life. So he put it all together now to make him an accomplished fellow. And to me, Gaston Brown, the best thing I'm doing in the last 40 years. He used the term next level. And that's the way I would judge it. He's at the next level. Not the level we're accustomed to. Let's go back and say, use Papa, Lester, Baldwin, no Gaston. He's in the upper level. And that's why this country is benefiting from his way of governance. Total different way of governance. He's on the right path. Most of us grew up hearing that private sector will drive things. You see, a total different idea. He said government and private sector. And that's the way to go. You dictate how you want. In every democracy, there is dictatorship. Because when whatever hit the fan, finger will be pointing at you. And that's what I like about him. He's not afraid to make the hard decisions. Do what you have to do.
And that's what you say is in his DNA.
That's in his DNA. That's just natural to him. Some people may find it difficult. But that's just the man. His life was a struggle. Survival was a struggle. So what he's doing now is a similar struggle. The country must progress a particular way, and this is what you have to do. This is where to go about it. The old way of doing things don't work. Stagnate. This man is hell bent on going forward, getting things right. But there's only two ways of doing things. The right way, the wrong way. And because of his knowledge that he acquired, he knows exactly how to maneuver. And whereas people timid and don't wish to do certain things, he will just do it, just like the leader of opposition say. He will grab the bull by the hand and tame it. And most people don't like individuals like that because they are confident people. They know what they're doing. They see the end just at the beginning. They got that vision. The Creator grant them that privilege that they see it. So when they're going forward, they have no fear because they thought it out carefully. And that's what the man has. The man is just blessed with that. In Gaston, normally I'm just about 5 houses down from him, going north. When it rains, let's say we get even a 1/8 of an inch, man, the entire place will flood. Within about 3-4 minutes, the place flood. The water enter into your home. You talk about above your ankle, the amount of water sometimes. So you have to be inside the water, shuffle around inside the water. So the water will settle, so the floor becomes slippery. So he and I have that experience. The man's life is a case study. Instead of most people try to find it difficult to deal with him and say things. Study the man. The Creator prepared him for this moment. We even had a second life-threatening event take place in North Street, Michigan Street, right where in the Faith and Hope schoolyard, the electrical wire, where Kenyon Davis had to save his life. Look how things go circle. Kenyon's sister is my wife. His grandmother did not allow him to, well, let's say go too far from her. When the most of us we could go down to Cooks now, they call a nice name now, Denfield. That was Champy. Down there they have everything. Mangoes, all the fruits you can think about, cane. So we just always have something to eat differently than him. He mostly home. I'm so proud of the guy. From where he starts to where he's at now. And I can say, without any doubt in my mind, and I said it to him a long time ago, he thought he only wanted about 2 terms. I tell you, foolishness. What you're saying now may sound modest. 20 years from now, that's foolishness. This country needs a man like you. The way you do things, your understanding of governance. You ain't going no place right now. And I just said to him, you need to groom the wife so she can be the first prime minister, female prime minister. He said, I don't want no dynasty. We need continuity in this country. This is what we need, continuity. And with you at the helm, even you might not be physically, your ideas, you need someone close that can pass that on. I was a supporter, United Progressive Party, supporting the Honorable Barney Spencer for 25 years out of the 30. I let him go in 2009 when he came to my tailor shop. I said to him, PM, you fail us because the politics start in your constituency. They will get started. That number was going to represent us for 15 years as leader of the opposition. And we knew, everyone knew the condition of World West. What we suffered, the neglect, everything. Most of us, even myself, thought that once he got there, there will be a transformation of World West. The first 5 years, I said, all right, maybe as a good father, you give your children things and leave yourself behind. That's what I thought. With the other constituency, then we gave him another chance. So now we have 15 as opposition leader and 10 as prime minister. And I can tell you he left a footprint in Islam. That's the big difference between Gaston Brown and Baldwin Spencer. To me, Baldwin Spencer do two things of significance in New World West. He secure the reservoir and cover the reservoir. Then he built a secondary school. At one time, they had a petition going on asking people to sign about this secondary school. I just had to tell him, look, just leave my place. If he built a secondary school, which is good, and this man up the ante, moving from secondary school to university campus, he can learn. When the same United Progressive Party had the same thing in mind, they wanted a university too. Remember they asked Julius Samuel, he was mandated to put it all together. So how now can they speak against the university? So that's the way I can see things. This man is more visionary than them. He knows how to go about get things done, and he just goes straight forward and get it done. That's why most of them have the problem with him now. You ain't pussyfooting around. You need to get that done, find out all the different areas, different scope, how you go about get it done, and just execute. The United Progressive Party right now was a failed experiment and still is. You know what I ask most of the supporters that are still my friends who go to everything? Tell me something. You believe the crew from 2004 to 14 is a better crew than this one? Most of them smart enough know where I'm going. They don't answer. Because there's no way the crew from 4 to 14, this one, can compare to that. And if that one was a failure, where are we going with this one? And that's the reality. So presently, opposition in Antigua, presently, in my observation, I first voted in 76 for Donald Christian, DC. This is the worst in the history of opposition in Antigua. What we see now. I will say to the supporters, Gaston Brown. From observation, you must ask yourself this. What he's doing, is it right or wrong? Because there's only two ways of doing things. The right way, the wrong way. Yes, some, as humans, we are. We may mean good doing it this way, but that wasn't the right way. What was the intention? And if there are times you can see the intent was, hey, what he wanted to do or want to get done in the benefit of the masses of people, that's the key. What you're doing to benefit the masses. And if the intention is slightly warped, hey, we just tweak that. Because the intent is good, it's for the benefit of the masses. And that's why I'm asking the supporters, stay focused, watch the intent, and where the man is going. Gaston Brown, like I said early, way back, The man possesses what it takes to be a leader, great leader, and he is presently. It's the Creator working through him. So sometimes I don't believe it's just his knowledge working. It's the Supreme Being. Just guide him. Keep on doing what you're doing. Your heart is in the right place. The minute you stray, the Creator will let you know. You just go like that. Just stay focused. Keep God focused in everything you do, anything you plan to implement or whatsoever. And there is a doubt in your mind because, as human, we carry to the Most High. Pray about it. The Father will reveal the correct path for you. And you're going to be able to please everybody. Just do things for the benefit of the masses of people. Just like Papa Bird had a magnetic attraction to the masses of people, that's not going to have it. If you observe, let's say even within the UPP crowd, you can just walk into that crowd and the people still accept him. That's what you call a magnetic attraction to the masses of people, regardless to the politics. And everybody possess that, achieve that. Papa Bird had it, he has it now. No other leaders, the other two, never have that magnetic attraction to the masses of people like Papa and now Gaston.
My name is Peter Thomas. Most people call me Wang, so they will just say Peter Wang. I'm from the Pineville community. Born and lived there for most of my life, like everybody else. Travel out, spend like a vacation, sometimes more than vacation, and come back. But I know Gaston from, I can say actually all my life, but become more acquainted after he decided to enter politics. Because he was living on the eastern side of the community and I was living on the western side. The western side of the community was the most productive side. For various reasons, we had the waterfront down there, we had the fishery down there, and most people who do not have any skill usually turn to this place to get employment. And we have the basketball court in that area, the football field, and the steel band and the iron band, which was a driving force of the community when it comes to entertainment. Prior to 1999, Gaston Brown told me he's going to enter politics, and he was making some round in the community. At first, I was supporting the late Donald Halstead. He said to me, listen, if they not support me, no curse me because there will be opportunity for us to work together. Then after I see Donald Halstead health start deteriorate more way, he having problem, and when we check it out, we said, hey, Donald can't win, And we didn't want Gaston opponent to win. Donald even saying in many words, if you not vote for me, vote for Gaston Brown. That's why a lot of the people in the community decided, listen, I'm going to give Gaston a chance because they didn't want his opponent to win. He thought we could work together because he wanted to see the advancement of the community. And in terms of bouvially, infrastructure, better education for the people, and better job opportunity. So, as a community activist, you tell you, say, hey, listen, if you raise up your community, you raise up yourself, and you make the next generation life better for you. Because at the end of the day, no, it can't be about you. You have to be about the legacy that you leave. Because there are so many families I have in the community that I don't really accept no. And I can remember one day I was sitting this lady named Mary, and she said, boy, I'm just watching you and see your grandmother. I asked her, who is my grandmother? She said, your grandmother name is my Bayam. I said, I am a Bayam. She said, yes, that's your grandfather, mother. And then after I started to mix around and I realized there was so much connection in the community. He's real. And I'm going to be honest with that because I wasn't looking for a savior. I was looking for a representative. And when you look for a savior, you have to look in the next light. And for the thing that he spoke about, you could see that he was going to be overnight. He was going to be like, hey, for the first 5 years, I can take it to this next year because it's a long time term. And I saw the improvement. And when you see this thing, there's an old time saying, you see light at the end of the tunnel. And it's proven to be right. Because we can talk about judgment, we can speak about the fishery, and so many different things we do for people individually. So, I just say, hey, you have to give the man the opportunity for prove himself. Giving Gaston Brown the opportunity is just like you buy a lotto ticket and you win the jackpot. When I say win the jackpot, I'm not speaking about that I become wealthy. It's about that I see a difference in the community and the country at large. So at the end of the day, I believe I made the right choice. 2022, I'm a good friend of Shawshed. By a matter of fact, we traveled to St. Thomas. And, after we reached St. Thomas and we checked into the hotel and we was making some round in the electronic media houses to help to promote the event. We went on Vibes Radio and they had people was calling in. This guy called him and said, Shorty! He said, yes, who is this? He said, Otis Martin. He said, oh gosh, boy, I tried to reach you, but they say I don't live here no more. He said, yes, I'm living in Texas. He said, I was trying to call in on the radio, but I could not get in. He said, how are you, Shorty? He said, I'm good. He said, I want you to do me a favor. He said, anything for you, Otis. He said, when you go back to Antigua, make certain you work hard for Gaston Brown to win the election, because Gaston Brown is not only good for Antigua, but he's good for the region. And after he hung up on the phone, I said, my God, Monarch, I'm sorry that me hear this. I wish somebody else was in the vehicle, because if me say that, people might think I'm just making it up. That's why I call his name Otis Martin. And I called Gaston and I said, Gaston, and he happened to pick up. I said, boy, if I tell you what me just hear from this guy, Otis Martin, he called Shawshed and tell Shawshed when you come back to Antigua, make certain you work hard to make certain you win, because you're only good for Antigua, good for the region. And I said, I feel so good about it. And I kind of talk about the next experience. We usually have a lunch down, I don't even know the place name. By this place, they sell a wide variety of food. And this her name is Claudette Peters. She have an uncle work there. And the gentleman who owned the place, I think he's either from St. Lucia or St. Vincent. And anywhere you go, people have their own political talk. Because people can disagree with anything. Man disagree with God, so they can disagree with man. And we was just talking, and the guy say, you guys on Antigua? I say, yes. But you know Shawshed. And he said, support Gaston Brown? He said, yes. I said, Gaston Brown is the best thing for the Antigua. He said, for the rest time that you're here, I will pay for your lunch, because you all support Gaston Brown. Gaston Brown is not only good for Antigua, he's good for the region. And I can tell you, we went down by close to the airport by this guy, Walker. He's Barbudan descendants. Real nice cook. And we was talking politics, and I was surprised to know he actually supported Gaston Brown. When they have breakfast, and if we wanted dinner, we could have dinner. The only thing it cost us, the little time for talk politics. So whenever I hear these things about Gaston Brown, sometimes I look on it in a different light. I say, hey, this is the nature of the job. People can always find fault here, but at the end of the day, the taste of the pudding is in eating. And I honestly believe that Gaston Brown is doing a good job, not only for Antigua, but for the region. Okay? But I'm speaking from the heart. Yeah. And the truth is, we know a different Gaston Brown, I'm speaking the truth.